Wow, I think we're live. I guess we'll find out soon enough whether we're live or not.
We'll find out.
Things popping up and posting and all sorts of other things going on.
Yeah. So I know a lot of people want to come see this, so.
Yeah, this will be good. Be good.
Hi!
Okay. Hey, we see some people.
So,
right.
Yeah, it says it's just Facebook user. Okay, cool. So it doesn't say their names.
Yep. Good stuff.
Hey, everybody!
All right. People are jumping on. We'll give people a couple of seconds here to jump on.
Cool. Yeah, it's a shame it doesn't say the name, so I have no idea who it is.
I know. It's, Facebook.
Hello, anonymous people.
Facebook and their algorithms.
Yeah, no, they could just totally insult me the whole entire time, and I would have no idea who it was, too.
But when we do the look back, we'll be able to see who it was.
So anybody saying, "Oh, Pennywise is better," I'll be like,
"Tisk."
I'll find you.
All right. Well, it looks like people are here. So thanks again, obviously, for being with us. And
yes,
on behalf of Carrie, who's going to be looking in on here, and Steve, of course, and
yes.
Art the Clown Appreciation Society, we really appreciate you being here.
Thank you.
Obviously, in lieu of, we wish that we could all be together in Salem doing something fun, but maybe next year,
Maybe there's always next year. That's how I look at it too. Just like, yay, yeah. Because I've never been to Salem either, so I've always wanted to go there. I back when I was like a kid, I did a big, huge research paper on the Salem witch trials too. So I'm like, I've always wanted to go, especially to like the witchcraft museum and all that kind of stuff.
Our office is right downtown, so we get to see that stuff every day. Well,
how cool.
In our office, but anyway, so that's a whole other story.
Yeah.
So yeah, it'd be awesome. So I think we talked earlier. We're gonna definitely put together another date, and we'll get to do it next time. So.
Oh yeah.
But yeah.
It's like this year is just like a do-over year. It's just like
Yeah.
That's I was talking to my appearance manager Bob Catalano about all that, and it's like the whole convention scene this year has just been shot to shit. So it's like I just had another convention I was supposed to do in September that was just canceled until next year. So I'm just like
crazy.
Yeah, it's like this year is just like you just got to take one. It's just a wash.
It's a wash. Well, we'll make up for it over the next
Oh yeah, it's like once we can go back to conventions, all that there is going to be some partying.
Oh yeah, it's gonna be good.
Yes.
So we have a few questions certainly to ask you, and I'm sure that we'll try to save some time for the end because I know some of the folks have some questions as well. So
that sounds great.
Yeah. So let's get started. So the first question, when will Terrifier 2 be released?
Yeah. I get that all the time. It's like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, we originally wanted to release in October, but
right, I know.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's just like this. Everything has been postponed, worldwide till next year anyway. So it's just like, at least we're not the only ones. So I'm like, we want to get it out as soon as possible, though, because like we can't wait for everybody to see this thing because it's like we're so excited because it's such a fun film. It's just like you've seen some of it already when you were on set, so it's
oh my god, I know
everything is bigger and better, and it's such a fun. It's a gory film. Oh my god, it's a violent, gory film, but so much fun.
And
so much fun.
Even seeing the set and then seeing the trailer, I don't know, everybody was like so excited for that.
Yeah.
So it's just gonna be awesome when it comes out. So we can wait.
Yeah. Good things come to those who wait. So we're hoping to get it out sometime. I'm thinking early next year. Yeah,
it would be fantastic. People will be stoked. So we'll get back to Terrifier, 2 in a second. So. Tell us how have you been doing during the whole quarantine, and kind of like what other projects are you working on?
I've been doing pretty good as best as I can. I've been pretty much just quarantining myself this whole entire time for the past 5 months now.
Yeah.
That's hard to believe, but yeah, it's like because I'm just trying to do my part, make sure everybody's safe and everything like that. Especially since I live here in New York City, so like we were the epicenter for all this at first. So
Sure.
it was crazy here for a while. So I've been pretty much just cooped up here, watching a lot of movies, playing a lot of video games and stuff like that. Though since we started, reopening the city and everything, I've been able to get out a little bit more. Like last week, I did some work for a PBS animated series for little ones. I don't know if I'm allowed to talk about the show yet or anything like that. But it was fun going out there. But it's very strange being in Times Square again, because wasn't Times Square to me like it used to be. Because the busiest times in New York City and Times Square are during the summer and during the holiday season.
Mm-hmm.
And walking through Times Square with barely anybody walking around, barely any traffic, was the most surreal post-apocalypse type of thing. I was coming back from my recording session. There was like a church nearby playing "Send My Regards to Broadway" on their chimes, and it was like the creepiest, like most haunting thing. It was like something out of a horror film, because I'm like walking by all these Broadway theaters that are closed down. I'm like passing posters that opening in March 26th, this show, and I'm like, God, it's like what you see in those movies where it's like the things that should be there, but they're not there because everything's gone. And just
so weird.
It was so weird. It was so weird.
Like I Am Legend, right? That was literally when the virus had had taken over, the city just was empty. I mean, short of grass growing up in the streets, it was pretty much desolate. Yeah.
There was a video game series they've had 2 video games based on it recently, on like the PlayStation and all the stuff. I'm totally blanking on the name of it, but that like the first game was set in New York right after a virus was released through money. And it was oh my God, what's that game called? Someone probably knows, but it's a great game. I'm just totally blanking on the name all of a sudden, because you hit 40 and your brain goes.
You hit 50.
Oh God.
That just happens. Yeah, but I mean, based on that, though, obviously everybody is glad that that your sister is doing well again, and before we jump back into Terrifier, I mean, any advice, for the fans to kind of keep things trending normally, with respect to COVID, and so we can get back to the horror events, right?
Yeah, just wear the masks. It's just the simplest thing we can do right now to take care of everybody. It's not, the mask is not about protecting yourself; it's protecting everybody else. And it's like it's a selfless act to do. We're like, this is something we should all be. It shouldn't be a partisan issue at all. It should be something we're all doing this. We're all in this together right now, trying to take care of each other, make sure everybody's well, and that's what we should be doing right now. So it's like it's the simplest thing you can do. Just it's a little piece of cloth you wear over your face. It's like it's like I look at doctors and surgeons. They can perform operations for hours on end with a mask on. That's the least we can do, is wear it for 30 minutes to go into a store.
Yeah. Takes 2 seconds, right?
Yeah.
Someone said, I think the game is Fallout. Does that sound right?
No, not Fallout. No. It's I think it's Ubisoft does it. Oh my God, it's and someone will chime in eventually. Probably like, I know what it is. It's just like I feel so stupid right now. I don't want to be rude and just Google it on my phone and like, what is this game? Hold on, everybody.
All right, yeah. So now back to Terrifier 2. So without any spoilers, obviously. So kind of give us your take on the new movie. Like, what's got you kind of excited?
Everything. Everything. I was like, I guess I could talk about this now since you see it in the trailer, but I got to shoot a flamethrower.
Yeah.
So that was freaking awesome. I mean, that was like one of the best days ever for me. It's like, so that was just like, oh my God, I got to shoot a flamethrower.
Add that to your resume, right?
Yeah. Oh, I know.
Yeah.
It's like that day on set, I was probably the most giddy I've ever been on this film, because I was like, I was such a big kid that day. I was like, I get to do what today? Really? Really? Awesome.
That's pretty epic looking. I'll tell you, it's definitely pretty epic.
Oh yeah, but that's the whole film. It's just epic. It's fun. But what I really like about this film too, it's it's not just arts film. Arts, front and center the whole time too, of course. But I'm like, this is really setting up our new protagonist. Sienna, played by the wonderfully talented Lauren Rivera, and it's just like it's her movie. It's all about defining her as a person and this hero that's kind of come in and actually kick ass. She's such like an Ellen Ripley and like a a Sarah Connor type of character. It's just, like, in the relationship that she has with her family is such a great relationship, especially with her little brother Jonathan. And this is just like it's really cool. And this is what I like about like how Damien writes. He doesn't really write cliched characters as much as a lot of other slasher films do. They like it's not just her character. There's been some other characters in the film that I was like, oh yeah, this character could totally just be this one cliche, and then I see this character do another scene, and I'm like, wow, that actor brought a lot of depth to this character I didn't expect in it.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, wow, I just thought this person was just going to be goofy the whole time, but wow, they actually have a heart and everything. I'm like, this is great. And it's just like, there's a lot more character development in this one. I really enjoy that aspect of it.
Yeah.
And I think the fans will too, because it makes you feel more connected to these characters. So when things do happen to them, you get more emotionally invested in their plight and everything. So
Yeah.
it's like, so it's it's like I said, it's bigger and better. Like we have a lot more fight scenes. I got to do a lot of fun fight choreography in this, and that was very exciting to do.
Yeah.
And it's like I had a stunt double come in once or twice when I needed a relief pitcher and stuff like that. But
cool.
Not for like the extreme stuff or something like that. Sometimes it's just like, I'm tired. Can someone swing at this a few times for me? I'm dead.
Yeah, I mean, I I did get to witness one of them, and I was like, man, I don't know. That's like, there was definitely some danger posed in.
Yeah. I like, like sometimes even like Mike or Jason Levy would come in and relief pitch for me. So I'm just like, they're stronger than I am physically. So I'm like, I'm totally comfortable with myself and admitting that. I'm like, yeah, you're stronger. Go ahead and have a whack at that. I'm okay with it. It's like, yeah, it's like like as long as it makes it look good on screen, that's what's important. So I'm like,
yeah, absolutely. So you kind of covered, obviously how was it working with the new cast, but I mean, we all know Carrie is probably one of the best pros that you got to work with for sure.
Oh yeah, that was fun having her out and set that day. Well, she was out there at the same time we had all the other the Indiegogo campaign donors that got to come in to film, and they were Carrie had to leave us earlier than everybody else because she had like other commitments with work and everything like that. But they basically got to spend a week with us on set, and it was just so much fun hanging out with all of them, and because they really got to see how movies are made. And I think someone were really surprised how much hurry up and wait there is on sets. Where it's just like, oh, good God, how long does it take to set up this like 5 seconds of filming? But that's just how it goes. But they were so gung ho. It's really fun watching them in some of these scenes where they're supposed to be having like reactions to horrible things happen, and they're smiling because they're just so excited to be there. It's like, no, you're supposed to be scared.
Right. Stop smiling.
Stop smiling. This is horrible.
What about some other cast members? I mean, you definitely, you got to obviously meet and work with a different kind of cast this time. Yeah.
But it's just like the first film. Like we have really lucked out on like casting just fantastic actors and actresses that like everybody gets along so well. We all have fun with each other. There are no egos or anything like that. So it's like everybody has just been a blast to work with. They all become like family because we're such a small crew anyway, so we all get really close. And it's like when we're going through this whole ordeal, we're all suffering together through the elements and the long film days and stuff like that. So we all get really close that way. But especially I really loved is Lauren, of course, was, as I said earlier, was just so much fun to work with. But also Elliot, I mean, who plays Jonathan, is like he and I had I almost kind of think of him as like a little brother now, because it's like I had so much fun with him on set, and he'll probably kill me for saying this, but we had farting contests.
So did that involve a flamethrower too? Or?
Oh no, that would have been disastrous.
Okay.
Oh yeah, but he outdid me. He is quite the fartist. So
Yeah.
there was this one night he's going to kill me for saying this, but it's like we're like I think we're all so exhausted, and we're sitting there waiting for them to set up the shot and everything, and I could tell he was so tired, and I hear this little feeble like, "Hey David," and I'm like, "Yeah, buddy." He's sitting like right behind me, and we're sitting on this mat, and he doesn't answer. But all of a sudden, there's this loud rumble, and the mat is just vibrating beneath me. And he just let out this massive fart. I was like, "Holy sh!" I couldn't stop laughing.
That's
we couldn't, because we had to start filming. I couldn't start filming because I was still laughing so hard. I was like, "Damn, I can't top that." You won, man. You won. But it was just that very feeble, "Hey, David."
Gotcha. Good.
Yeah, I thought a volcano was erupting. Something. It was like, my God, man. It was awesome. I was like, respect, man, respect.
Yeah. That comes with the age, I feel like you really can be, really good at that age,
Oh yeah, yeah. But that's how close we all were on set. We're just like, yeah, we. It's like,
yeah,
whoops.
Yeah.
Whoops.
Yep. There was a comment. We can see all the we can see the posts. We just can't see the users because it's this platform. But we can definitely see the posts in there.
Yeah.
So what was what was different this time? Was there anything different? I'm assuming from the previous one.
Oh, well, you definitely have like a bigger crew this time. So that, I mean, not a huge crew, but a bigger crew. So that helped things flow better in a lot of ways. And they've done some amazing things. Like some things I was really just amazed on were like especially Jackie and Olga that have I think they're I called her Jackie of all trades because she could basically do everything. She was helping a lot with makeup, but she and Olga was in charge of costuming, and the two of them did a lot of set dressing. And like for Sienna's room, it's like the day before we're filming, and there's basically nothing really set up in this room, so it just is bare. You're just like, it's not even, I don't think, even finished painted at the time. There's no furniture or anything in there, and I'm just like, oh my God, I see this room. I'm like, we're supposed to be filming in here tomorrow, and they stayed up all night and decorated this whole entire room. I come in the next day to see this room, and it looked amazing. It looked like just night and day. I was blown away, and the small details they put into things is just like, I hope you really get to see a lot of it on film. But it's just like, I was having fun just looking at the small details, the little Easter eggs here or there that might not even be picked up on screen. There's even a great Easter egg about Damien in there, and it's like, oh my God. And I didn't realize it, and they're like, do you see the Damien Easter egg? I'm like, no. And they pointed out, I'm like, oh my God, that's brilliant. But it's just like the amount of detail, and they did it in less than like 24 hours, and it was amazing. That's like real dedication and real talent, and that's just how it was. It's like everybody was so gung-ho about just getting there and putting their all into this, and I think it's really going to show on screen. And it definitely having a slightly, not slightly, it was definitely a bigger budget than we made the first one with. So, and that's all really a big part is that thanks to the fans with the Indiegogo campaign, because like, especially with that big set piece that we filmed with all the campaign people, that wouldn't have been possible without the funding. We wouldn't have been able to do what we did in that scene. It's like, it's thanks to you guys that we were able to really pull so much of this off, and you'll see it. I mean, everything is just improved. It's like we're going to a lot more locations, because the first film was basically set in like maybe 2 real locations, like the pizza restaurant and that big huge warehouse. But this art's going on everywhere in this. Daytime, nighttime, all that. It's so much fun. It's just like, so, and we're able to pull that off because things are bigger and better this time. So
yeah,
it's exciting. It's very exciting.
Damien definitely, and you all do actually, I think that this movie in a way is almost like an homage to the fans, right? Because from day one, that's all you guys were really have ever said. We want to, make it for the fans.
Yeah, and that's what Damien did. He's like, he has gone and basically all the different reviews that came out, all the YouTube videos, commentaries, the good points and the bad points, all the criticism. He looked at it all, listened to it all, and took it all to heart. And he's wanting to address so much of that. The things that people were upset with in the first film. He's wanting to address that.
Yeah.
And then, like, that's one of the big things he did was address, like, the one complaint a lot of people had. It was a bare bones plot. And I was like, oh, there's a lot more story this time, so don't worry about that.
No, it's definitely, like I said, it's definitely an homage to the fans, which I think is fantastic. So again, obviously without kind of spoilers, but what types of character development are you seeing with Art this time around? Like, has he progressed or transformed, or what's he kind of, what's he kind of developing?
I would say he's a lot more confident this time around. I mean, he was already confident in the first one, but he's come back from the dead,
right?
Which I don't think he even expected.
Yeah.
So it's just like this. Holy crap! Okay, now I get to play. So he almost kind of feels this little bit of invincibility this time around, but he also has an agenda, a clear-cut agenda this time around.
Oh, okay.
So it's just like, he there's a reason he's going for Sienna in this, and it's like, which is it's fun, and it's like, but we're not trying to beat you over the head with why he's doing it. So it's like we offer clues and stuff. Like, there's a lot of subtext involved with it, so which is kind of fun. But it's like, he's out for blood this time.
Yeah,
especially like, he's not just doing it just for the shits and giggles. I mean, he still is. But but he also has a reason for doing it.
Yeah, he's got an agenda. He's got a little bit of a mental checklist, and he's got.
Like he's like, it's like, I have my goal, but I'm also still going to have some fun now, especially now that I'm back from the dead, and I it's like it takes a lot more to take him down this time.
Yeah, that's awesome. So we know that it's like, T2 is not even out yet, and people are already talking about T3, right? And so we know that there may be a follow-up. We heard that the script was written, or at least
it's not written yet.
Not written, but
we have ideas.
Right.
We have some ideas, and like I know, like, basically the beginning of the film might be written, because the beginning of the film was actually supposed to be basically the beginning of Terrifier 2, but it would have been just a really long movie if we did that.
Yeah, right.
So we're saving that more for Terrifier 3, I think. So we know how we want to start it, and we know basically how we want to end it. It's a great ending that we have in store for the character. So it's like it's one of those things that Damien and I came up with together one day in a car, and we're like, oh my God, this has never been done before. But this is a great way to tie things up with the character. Like, if this was only going to be a trilogy, that's a great way to end it. But there's also some open-endedness too. So if we want to come back and do more, we still can. So, but it's a really fun, creative ending. Like, oh, it makes me excited about that. Just doing that and just seeing how people react to that.
Yeah, for sure.
But that's further down the line. It's like, who knows what's going to change between now and then too. It's like, the ideas we had for Terrifier 2 while we were filming Terrifier 1 are, far different from what we actually made. So it's like, it is just like, because Damien and I bounce ideas off each other all the time, and he'll like, what I like about it is, like, I might come up with an idea, and he'll take little bits and pieces of that, but he'll evolve it into other things, which is really cool.
Do you see what types of, so if and when the Terrifier 3, do you already see kind of certain themes repeating, not so much repeating, but maybe carrying through,
oh yeah,
from the first couple,
maybe, oh yeah,
the types of interactions that the characters have, or the kind of storyline flow, or that type of stuff?
Yeah, there are definitely some connections to Terrifier 1 in this.
Okay.
And there's some fun little Easter eggs in there too that are kind of also like clues. But you, like I said, we're not going to slap you in the face with them. It's just going to be like, okay, someone, if they pause at the right part of the movie, they might be like, oh, what is this?
Yeah.
Those kind of fun little things. There's like little Easter eggs that like, yeah. What about that? What about that?
The good thing is pretty much everybody on here, myself included, probably has watched it a billion times. So the likelihood of them finding those Easter eggs is good at some point. Maybe right away.
Stuff that we're going to show on Terrifier 2, not Terrifier 1. So
yeah.
But things that happen in Terrifier 1, there's like Easter eggs in Terrifier 2 regarding some stuff that happened in Terrifier 1.
For sure. Yeah. So yeah, it's definitely. So I know also what as far as the release goes, I know that there's a couple of things out there. I believe Damien was talking about the potential for a release tour as far as the movie goes, or have you guys, thought about that? Obviously, it's tough to think about with this type of
I don't know as much about that because that's more Damien's idea, and that's his area, because I have really nothing to do with distribution, all that fun stuff. But that's like a cool idea to me, because I know like Kevin Smith did a lot of that with his latest film with Jay and Silent Bob, and it looks like it was very successful. It looks like he actually probably made more money doing it that way than just doing a nationwide theater release, which is like. That's pretty cool, because that's one thing. As much as I would love for Terrifier 3 and Terrifier 2 to to have a theatrical release, it's just like I don't know if we could get it by the MPAA. It's like I think in like the first 5 minutes of the movie we get an NC-17 rating.
Yeah.
So just like it's like when like we were filming that scene, like I make the first like strike with my weapon, and Damien's like, "Hey Dave, you realize that this, just what you did right there would be a whole entire kill in the Friday the 13th movie, right?" And I'm like, "Yeah, that's it." And it's like, "Hey, we got so much more to do."
Yeah, let's do it.
I mean, that's the funny thing too, because like when it was originally written, it was like this one way, and then when we had the virus and stuff like that, it gave Damien some more time to really think about that kill scene, and he added more to it. And he's like, let's just swing for the fences with this. We got to open the movie up with a bang, so let's do this. I'm like, hell yeah.
Yeah.
And so it's like that first kill is it's something else.
That's awesome. Yeah, I mean that definitely. I don't know. Again, I think that it's probably that energy seems to definitely have been captured in the trailer, because I know that everybody, including myself, saw the trailer. Were like, okay, let's buckle up, because this one, it's going to be what we think it's going to be.
Oh my god, it's like the prosthetics that he's made for this too have just blown my mind. It's like he's gotten things where it's like it generally looks like the actor. I've had to do a double take several times. I'm like, is this really that person, or is this? I'm like, because he's put apparatuses in some of them that makes it look like they're breathing even.
Yeah, that's amazing.
So it's just like, holy crap. It's like when I watch like when I've seen the footage of both the actor and the prosthetic, I can't tell the difference.
That's amazing.
That shows you the amount of skill that Damien really has, and just like that's what I love about practical effects over CG. Is just like it's just when you see that kind of that takes real talent to sit there and be able to actually make something that's that realistic with your own hands.
Yeah, and that's where he kind of got his start, right? Is more on the special effects side, like the Fangoria, like the whole that type of stuff.
Oh,
right?
he's like huge Savini fan. That's his big inspiration, Tom Savini. So just like that's his bread and butter there, and that's what I love about these movies are allowing Damien really to showcase his skill set in a great way. And I'm really hoping that Hollywood is taking note of that, especially when this comes out. Like, because he needs to be up there with those other great, like Guillermo del Toro and like James Wan, these other great horror directors right now. It's like he's equal with those guys, if not above them in a lot of aspects.
And that, and that he brings that unique kind of perspective.
Yeah,
Directing coming from a different side of it. Like you don't see that very often. It's like
Oh,
direct
no.
come in, direct a movie, and they leave, and I'm sure whatever. But just that kind of extra effort and that extra skills, those skill sets that he brings to the table.
Oh, yeah. And it's also because he's a huge fanboy himself. He geeks out over this as much as everybody else, probably even not more so. And it's just like, I think that makes it more fun because it's like, it's one of those things like if he's happy with something, everybody else is going to be happy with it because he's looking at it from a fan's point of view. So if it looks good to him, it's going to look good to everybody else. Because I mean, he sometimes has his Kubrick moments on set where it's like, my God, it's like, but it has to be just perfect. And it's one of those things where it's like, yeah, it used to annoy me at first, like, man, can we keep on going? But it's like, but when I see it, and he finally gets what he really wants, it's like, oh, I totally see why. Yeah, okay. I totally trust you on this. I totally trust you. And I learned that on the first film. It's like you just gotta let him do his thing because he knows what he's doing.
Yeah. And there was a lot of that in the first film too.
Yeah.
Especially with effects and all that stuff too.
Oh yeah. And sometimes it comes down to just like, I just want this kind of cock of your head, or I want you to do this with your eyes instead. And it's like night and day. It's like things I won't even think of, and I'm like, that's brilliant. So it's just like you got to trust him on it, and he's great. And plus, it's like he is so easygoing on set. He's just like I'm so used to temperamental directors that especially when things aren't working the way they're supposed to, they start just losing their shit on everybody. And he's just like
he was so calm.
He'll be so calm, and he'll just sit there for a few seconds and think about it. And then he'll even confer with some of us. And, that's the thing I like about him, too. It's like he's willing to listen to other people's suggestions.
Yeah.
And it's just, and he just processes it all. It's like, okay, let's try this. Like we actually had an incident like this one effect that we really want to do in part 2. And it was a cool idea. And he had spent all this time building this prosthetic. And when we go to do it, it just did not work. And it was just like, my God. And I hated it for him because he had spent so much time building this thing.
Yeah.
And it just didn't work. And I'm like, well, why don't we just do it this way? And we're just like, boop, boop. And we're like, oh, wow, that totally works. Okay, it's a different take on the scene, but it works for what we need.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, it's amazing. I mean, yeah, you definitely don't see that. It's like the world's blown up around him. He's perfectly calm, and he just takes that extra second or two to think, or he takes different opinions of people. I noticed too, which I thought was cool. It was like, what do you think? What do you think? What do you think? I mean, to your point, I think that's rare.
Yeah.
With directors for sure.
But that's the great thing about this. It's such a collaborative effort. It's like it's not like we have a king dictating everything. It's just like we're all in this together. We all want this to be the best thing ever. So like we all can contribute our ideas and like put our brains together. And they're like, well, let's try this. That's cool.
Yeah.
And we'll try different scenarios and see what works too.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there have been some things that we've had to scrap from the script as much as we hated to due to time constraints and stuff like that. And it's like, oh, well, that would have been a great gag, but it might have detracted from other stuff. Or it's like, it was a great gag, but we just don't have time to do it. Well, we can save it for the next film or something like that. We'll find a way to integrate it somewhere else. So we'll just keep that, in the back of our head or something like that.
Yeah. Now, would some of those things, would you shoot those? Would they end up in the dailies, and then would they make it over and then just maybe not get edited in sometimes, or
sometimes
some stuff would get edited in that you weren't expecting to get edited in?
As for like, I can't really say for this one per se because that we wanted to forward to do, so we're great to have there.
Mm-hmm. You're breaking up a little bit. I think it broke up just a little bit there. Hang on a second. Hold on, everybody. At least I can hear you now. Let the freeze go by for a second here.
Okay.
It'll come back on.
Just double check, see.
Could be Facebook. Who knows?
Speed just in case.
I think you froze a little bit. You're a little bit laggy.
It just went down.
You might be able to, if you want, you can try jumping back in real quick. It's up to you. Okay, we're just gonna let him call back in. Should be all right. Just think we're gonna let him call back in.
Does that work?
I think so.
Okay, good. I don't know what's going on.
Yeah, that happens.
Yeah, it's like I think we've been having that happen. I think a few times today with like Spectrum has been like with the internet for some reason.
Yeah, happens all the time.
Oh, it's annoying.
So how are you guys feeling about all the support from the fans, and what else can they do to get involved?
Oh, just keep spreading the word. I mean, we're so appreciative. Like, I think we hit over 500,000 views a few days ago on YouTube for the trailer on Damien's page, and that's not counting how many other times it's been shared and stuff like that too on other pages and stuff like that. So I mean, that's amazing to us, because I can't even remember how long it took us to even get to a quarter of that kind of view for the first film with the trailer. That's
yeah,
bonkers to me, because like we're still not, we don't have the big huge Hollywood machine behind us, doing all the publicity for us, putting us up on like sites like IGN and Variety and Hollywood Reporter and all that kind of stuff. So it's the fan sites, the horror sites and stuff like that have been really getting the word out there for us. And like it's great. So that's why I say is just keep spreading the word. It's just like the hype is real, and it's really cool hearing from people, not just here in the United States, but all these other countries. I've been hearing from people, from like India and like Australia, everywhere. It's just like this is awesome.
Yeah. I mean, I think we're up over 5,000 members now, and
yeah,
members are from all over. I mean, Steve, as you know, is from the UK, so there's a big contingency there, and Carrie will tell you, we're approving people from all over the world to the Art the Clown Appreciation Society. So
it's exciting. It's exciting.
It's so much fun. See the passion of everybody is just amazing. I mean, it just keeps I mean, you know, even it just keeps us entertained all day long, you know, seeing what people come up with, you know.
Well, it's like Eddie recently has been doing all these posts.
Yeah.
With all the movie posters and everything. I'm like, these are hysterical.
Yeah. People through videos, they come up with even you know, dolls and
yeah,
amazing. It's amazing.
It's well, you know, the latest announcement was the comic book that they're making, the graphic novel with Steve McGuinness, who's up in Canada. So he's our Canadian friend.
Yeah,
he's such a talented artist. I actually sell one of his prints at my table with the Scooby Doo print. That he's the one that drew that. So I love that he's doing our comic book.
Yeah. You guys have
exciting.
You have a lot of celebrity fans too, Slayer and
that's
Jericho,
a lot of wrestlers.
Yeah,
that's nuts. Yeah, I have had Playboy models use me recently in like a video they did. It's like they have like Terrifier playing in the background. I'm like, what?
That's awesome.
What? Like my like 13-year-old self is like, oh my gosh.
We're gonna take a look at a couple of user questions, but before I do that, Steve specifically asked for you to do a Sylvester Stallone impression.
Oh yeah, that's something like Damien and I are always joking around since the first film. And so it was like, he's crazy lazy. I don't know what you want to do. He's getting much yellow there. Crazy lazy. Oh yeah. Because I like to talk about this picture of like Stallone and Schwarzenegger when they're both in the hospital together, and they ended up being right next to. They didn't know they were in the hospital at the same time getting surgery done, and they're like, I guess, in the recovery room, and they slide back the curtain. They discover they're like lying right next to each other, and they're both so heavily sedated. They both have this like, oh, look on their face, and it's just like I can only imagine with them being so heavily sedated, what that conversation had been. It was like, it's like that's when you need subtitles,
right? And somehow they probably understood each other, right?
Oh yeah, it's like you can only imagine what that was like. I just know you gonna be here. I didn't know you were gonna be here. What are you doing? I had to get you son on me in the house.
I hear a little Schwarzenegger in there too.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
It cracks me up. That's how it is. So we do that all the time on set. We're like, crazy lazy. I don't know. Crazy lazy.
Well, Steve's gonna wake up and be totally excited that.
Oh yeah,
because he was asking for that. All right, yeah. Do you have some time to? You know, I know we got about 15 minutes left. Do you have some time to peek through the? Some glass. I think I need new glasses. User questions. Let's see. I did see one question earlier. Was who is your favorite slasher?
Oh, that's easy for me. It's Freddy Krueger. I think he's the king. I think that is the most creative horror character ever created. He's so scary in his own way, but he's so charismatic too. But it's like that notion that like Jason or Mike Myers or any of those kind of characters, like you can just get in a car and drive away. You can go to a different country and get away from them.
Yeah.
Freddy, you can't because he lives in your dreams.
Yeah. Right.
So it's like you have to sleep, and you can't live without sleep. So eventually you have to sleep, and then like he can get you in your dreams. And there's the whole idea that he gets you in your dreams. So it's like the dream world, anything can happen. So it's like the amount of possibilities that you can do with that character are endless. And it's like that's what I think is the true genius of that character.
Yeah, he was also he was kind of a revolutionary character too, because the industry was kind of the same for a little while, and then he came out.
Oh yeah, because before that, it was usually all the characters. They were the killers were these silent slashers. It's just like it's like a guy wearing a mask, and here he is. He's got this personality, this like kind of funny personality too, but still scary. And I was like, that is awesome, because I've always kind of liked villains that were scary, but also a little bit funny at times too.
Yeah, yeah. Let's see. What was the last rock concert you have been to, and what is your favorite song right now?
My last one that I went to was Slayer when they were here in New York City.
Oh yeah.
It was at their farewell tour and stuff like that. Carrie King got me tickets to it and stuff like that. So like, I got to hang out with them backstage, and that was just like, that was epic. And they had all these other, artists from different bands there too, because Slayer on their farewell tour, so they're here in New York, so all these other artists around here were there. So and it was weird finding out all these other bands were fans of Terrifier. So I'm geeking out over them. They're geeking out over me. They're like, oh my God, can I get my picture made with you? My kids will go nuts. And I'm like, it was like, this is, I'm like, yeah. I was like, this is amazing.
That's awesome.
It was such a fun concert too. So
yeah, they put on a great show.
Yeah, but as for like my favorite like band of all time, or whatever the question was, is like, I would say Queen.
Favorite song and last rock concert, I think.
Oh yeah, my favorite song. Gosh, yes. I mean, it goes. Speaking of, I'll say with Queen, it would probably go between like Bohemian Rhapsody or Somebody to Love. I think those are both great songs.
Yep.
But I also have another really favorite song, and it's not really a rock song. It's Percy Sledge, When a Man Loves a Woman. Because I just think that's such a damn good song, such a powerful song. And it's like, and when you know the story behind it too, it's really cool too, because like he was going to do a concert one night, and he had just gotten dumped, broken up with his girlfriend, and he was just heartbroken. He was having the hardest time getting to the show. And he just turns to his band and he's like, guys, I just got to work something out. Can you just play something and just follow me? And he just came up with the song on the spot. So like all that was just so like, I'd always, before I heard the backstory of it, I was like, man, this seems like it comes from somewhere real.
Yeah.
And it does. It came straight from his heart. I'm like, damn, that's a good song.
Wow. I didn't know that story. Yeah. Good. That's good. Wow, that's cool.
I love finding out origins of songs. It's just like, some of them just like fantastic, or just like, when they were recording Staying Alive, there was a fire that broke out in the recording studio, and they were still recording. And it's like they got alarms going off, sprinklers going off, and they're in there, staying alive, oh God. It's just like,
amazing. I didn't know that either.
That kind of stuff. I love those kind of stories.
There was an interesting question. It ran by, so my 50-year-old memory is not going to remember it, but I did remember the basis of it. You are obviously a very physical, that role, for Art the Clown, plus the other stuff you've done, a very physical, I wouldn't say physical comedy, but is it physical acting, physical, and where do you kind of take that inspiration? Is that someone had said Charlie Chaplin, or what kind of characters influence you for that physical,
all of those guys. It's like because that's what I grew up watching. I like Ray Bolger, Charlie Chaplin, Buster Keaton, Harpo Marx, Laurel and Hardy, Three Stooges, all that I grew up on. And then my aunt, when I was about 12, 13, 14 years old, gifted me a box set of all the Mr. Bean videos. And this is when I really first started getting into acting too, where I was like really obsessed with it. And I was obsessed with Mr. Bean. And I would sit there and just watch those over and over and over and over and over and over and over. And that's when I was like, I want to do this type of comedy. I was like, physical comedy is so much fun. And I did a lot of children's theater, so the kids were really big into like physical comedy. So I did a lot of slapstick. And that's really where I honed my skills over all those years. And then when I toured with How the Grinch Stole Christmas, the musical, for 5 years, I was an understudy for the Grinch, who was the wonderfully talented Stephen Carl, who unfortunately passed away 2 years ago from cancer. But he was on Lazy Town. He was Robbie Rotten. If you're familiar with the song "We Are Number One," that's him. Huh. And he was such an amazing physical comedian. He had a mastery of his body that way. I believe he studied clowning and everything. So he was a true professional at this. So he really took me under his wing and like helped fine tune my skills. And I learned a lot from being his understudy for 5 years. And so that's where I get a lot of that from. If you go back and watch a lot of his work on Lazy Town, you'll see a lot of Art the Clown in that.
Really?
Yeah.
That's
or you'll see a lot of Robbie Rotten and Art the Clown, I mean.
In your and kind of when you were auditioning for and some people on here have seen that the audition tape. I mean, a lot of that that role was won on that kind of physical kind of comedy too, right? I mean, that physical, right? Because there was no script or anything like that,
Right.
and you had to improv right on the spot, right?
Right on the spot, yeah. I am still a bit. That was one of those things where I just had to just let it go. Just like whatever happens, happens. I'm just going to go with the flow, whatever comes out of my brain.
Yeah.
And it was just, I was just in the right mindset at that time. And so it worked out perfectly for me.
Yeah, it did.
Yeah.
Do you have interest in, what other kind of roles are you interested in? I mean, are you interested in other horror or getting out of the category a bit, or what kind
I'm interested in whatever, as long as it's a very interesting role. It's like I like really meaty characters. I think I'm a character guy. I love those. I love interesting, fun characters to play. I like villains. I like people that have depth to them like that. It's like, but I also love doing comedy. That's what I had always done, was comedy. So I would love to do some real comedy, some good sitcoms or something like that, especially if I can do some more physical comedy, because that's kind of what I want to bring back, is that whole like Jim Carrey art form of physical comedy, Ronex and all that kind of stuff, because you don't see that as much anymore. It's all a bunch of fart jokes and sex jokes and stuff like that now too.
Yeah.
And I think there's more of an art form. It's like and it's just I love going back and watching the older films. It's not just like the physical comedy, but like they would have these dance numbers in the old films, and they were just, someone just put a compilation a few years ago of Uptown Funk, and they put all these clips from old Hollywood movies where all the old dance breaks and everything. So you had like it was so cool. It's like you don't see that anymore. It's like, and I think that takes more skill.
Oh, for sure.
It's one thing just to read the lines, but when you have to do all that kind of physicality, and you're not doing it with CG, you're actually, it's like I look at Singing in the Rain with with like the number make him laugh, where Donald Connor's like just running up the walls and doing flips, and it's just like, man, he did that. He did. Or like you watch Buster Keaton, like a lot of the stunts that these guys would do back in the day, and they did it without wires and safety nets. They just full on did. Like he would run up. I remember this one film where he's like trying to escape the cops, and he's running on all these rooftops. He runs out of rooftops, and there's a railroad crossing, and he jumps off this roof onto the crossing gate and rides it down, and there's a car passing through the crossing gate, and he ends up falling into the back seat of the car, and it just drives away and escapes the cops. And like, he did that.
Yeah.
And he did it in like one take, and was like, that's amazing.
They would CG that these days.
They would totally CG that.
Yeah.
You'd have wires, all that. He literally jumped off a building, grabbed hold of a crossing gate, rode it down, and landed in this car. I'm like, my God, that takes skill.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Like Jackie Chan. He's a great example of that. He was like, I love watching Jackie Chan films, because it's like, God, that man put his body through hell just to entertain us all.
Yeah, and then it was all, that was him.
That was all him.
Yeah, it was all him. It's crazy. Yeah. You think about it. You don't see that anymore, to your point.
No, you don't. No, yeah. It's like, or Bruce Lee, and it's just like, oh my God. And it's like, I watched the latest Ip Man film recently. I love martial arts films, and it's just like, just watching the choreography in these, I'm just like, my God, it's amazing.
Yeah. What kind of other stuff are you, I mean, so from a modern standpoint, are you, what's kind of, what do you like to watch? Or what do you?
I watch anything and everything. I just like to be entertained. I will watch horror films. I will watch rom-coms. I watch comedy. Sci-fi, whatever. I just like to be entertained. I recently, I've been watching the latest season of Umbrella Academy. I've been loving that. I just finished watching Stargirl, which was fantastic. It's like I think it's one of the better one of those CW shows right now. Like, man, that's really good. They went all out on this. And then I've also gotten into anime. I recently started watching One Piece.
Wow.
I'm about 60 episodes in now. I'm like, oh my god, this is so good.
Yeah,
this is so good.
That's cool.
I understand there's like over 900 episodes of the show. I'm like, oh, this is gonna be fantastic. I am for this.
Yeah, that's unbelievable.
Yeah, I just like to be entertained. That's just
that's good. But you probably can draw some different kind of draw some different inspiration from different things even.
I do that all the time. That's and like I'm a human sponge when it comes to all this stuff, because I will see things. I probably drive people crazy that live around me, because I will sit there and I'll sometimes just imitate the characters while I'm sitting here, because I'm trying to learn new characters, and I'll watch something. I'm like, I wonder if I can develop this into a character I can do in this film one day or something like that. And so I'm always looking for new ideas, and I find inspiration everywhere. So I'm like, and I love it. It's a tax deduction too.
Yeah, that's a good
like,
point.
Ew, professional, education there. So I'm like,
right. You get a grant for doing that.
Yeah,
it's good stuff. Somebody asked earlier in this thread, what is it? Well, what does it feel like for you? But I guess also, what would it feel like for Art to Clown to be mentioned up in the top kind of horror greats? Which is definitely where he's definitely being mentioned. So I mean, and that's an interesting group to be a part of. So
that's a huge honor.
Yeah,
that is a huge honor, because it's like I almost kind of feel like an imposter. And it's like that little bit of imposter syndrome comes in, because I'm like, these are the legends I grew up watching. Just to be even mentioned in the same sentence as them, it's just like, what's like when that recent like Watch Mojo Jojo Mojo Jojo no but like that Watch Mojo video between Pennywise and Art the Clown. It's like, wow, they're comparing the two of us on that kind of level now. I'm like, that's
he's in those conversations for sure. I mean, it's definitely been trending that way.
It's an honor, and just like, because going to these conventions, that was like one of those things. I was like going to my first convention, I was like, oh god, I don't know how it's going to feel going to this, meeting these other actors, like Kane Hodder, or Robert Englund, or, Bill Moseley, John Cassier, all these guys, these legends.
Yeah,
I'm like, how are they going to treat me? Because I'm like, I don't feel like I'm worthy to be among them. I'm like, these are the greats. These are the guys.
Yeah.
And I was so afraid they were going to like, who the hell does this kid think he is? But it was the total opposite. They just totally embraced it. Like, welcome to the family.
It was great that you got to meet Sid, Rip Sid, before he passed. That was a great photo shoot that you guys got.
Man, that was that day in itself, when it first happened, Damien and I were freaking out, because like, this is special in itself. We didn't realize how special that was that day, because we didn't realize he was going to pass away later on that year. But it's like, I mean, I'm getting that they scheduled it so like we were having our makeup done together in the same room. Yeah. So we had that little playful banter going on between the two of us during that, and then he finished up early, because his photo op was before mine. He turns to me, he did like the photo with Damien and I and stuff like that. Then he, on his way out the door, he just turns to me and it's like, see you under the big top, kid.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
And I was like, wow. It's like almost like a passing of the torch in a way, and I just didn't really realize it then. Because he was such a great guy. It's like, I really wish I could have gotten to know him better than just like the few conventions I got to sit and talk with him for a little bit. Because I was like, he was such a kind man.
He seems just super sweet.
He really, and it's like, what really impressed me about him was that he was always the first one out on the floor, and always the last one to leave the floor at the convention. I was trying to beat him every single morning, because I was like, I'm being shown up by Sid. And he would still be there. And I thought I would get there really early. And I'm like, I got him today. I'm like, nope, Sid's there. I'm like, dang it, Sid.
He was a hard worker from what I
But knowing that he was sick at the time that he was doing that is that speaks even more about him, because like he was doing it for the fans, and he wasn't charging an arm and a leg for for a photo op or an autograph or anything like that. He spent his time talking to the fans, getting he wasn't trying to rush people through or anything like that. He truly appreciated everybody, and that's what's so cool, because like he played these horrible, violent, evil characters on screen, but he was just such a sweet man in real life. Smart man too. Just a brilliant man. Great storyteller.
Yeah, I get that from him. Yeah, fantastic. Well, I want to be obviously respectful of your time again. I mean, thanks so much for coming to our little Art the Clown Appreciation Society meetup, even though it's not in person.
I know.
We super appreciate it, Carrie, Steve. I mean, we've been talking about it all week and all month, but and so really thanks for your time and for being so good to the fans. And
you're welcome. I'm just appreciative of the fans being so good to us, because we wouldn't be where we are right now if it weren't for the fans.
Yeah.
So this is the least I could do.
Yeah. Well,
I was thrilled to do this. I hate that I couldn't do it in person.
Yeah, I know. Well, that hopefully, like you said, hopefully next year we'll be able to meet up.
Yeah, I'll totally schedule around all that just for that. I gotta be there. I gotta be there for that.
That would be fantastic. And maybe, I don't know, this one seemed to go pretty well. Maybe we can get a couple other people on. I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure you could do that. I'm pretty sure, especially Damien or Lauren or Jenna and all them. I mean, they're all so approachable.
Yeah, it seems like everybody's great. So, well, thanks again, and have a great weekend.
You too. Y'all take care.
We'll hopefully talk soon.
All right. See you later.
See you later.